using managing monitors. These users have the same capacity, all right? I know about that.
Yeah, that sounds suspicious, man.
Big Elvis is Chef Rosenberg. Mustache check. No, I got it trimmed. Yesterday, I dropped it on my channel. It was what was it? It was the ASMR, and that's when you like look at videos and you can just spend an hour watching someone get a shoe shine. So I'm here. Why does my energy feel low right now?
Whoa.
Boom.
That's a good way to sit. Maybe much more goodness.
Oh, anything tough for me?
We're about to be. We are live.
All right.
All right.
All right. There we go. There we go.
All right, we're good.
I am your host, Big Elvis the Chef Rosenberg.
I'm all work.
I'm Doctor Surgeon, the people's doctor. I like this lighting. What y'all think?
It's nice.
Is it better?
Is it better? It can always get better, sir.
It shines away all imperfections.
My father taught me that. He was like, son, I think you could do better. Like, thanks, Dad. Just took me a month to do this. So we're here.
Yeah.
I feel like I need to get my energy up. We had a good little rhythm going, and then we got a little stall, you know? That's live. You see, that's what happens when things are live. Anything can happen.
You missed a lot of footage from earlier.
That's some good
That's all right.
footage, right? Yeah,
That's life. That's
yeah.
how life happens.
That's how life happens, you know? You gotta, know when to hold 'em, know when to fold 'em.
Know when to run away, know when to hide. You better count your money when you're sitting on the table.
Well, we had a long week.
Yeah.
It's life is moving along.
Yeah.
It was a long week. I would say this was a long week. You know, this week was full of a lot of interesting things happened this week.
Yeah.
Things like, behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, in the mainstream.
In the scene.
Yeah. Like you said something interesting to me that I kind of like.
Me?
Yeah, you said something interesting a minute ago. You said when I told you about what we were going to talk about, you said that you didn't even know what was going on.
No, not at all.
And this happened as far as like the world finding out, and we're talking about Trey Nichols.
Yeah.
Right? Trey Nichols? Is it Nicholas or Nichols?
I don't know. I want to say Nichols.
Look at that. It's so vague. You know, where
Honestly.
the whole world is like, people would believe that they are, like everyone is in tune to what's going on here. First, let's remember that this is in a whole nother state. Other states' problems shouldn't be the world's problem.
No, wait, what other state, where did this happen?
This happened in,
Is it? Why don't I say Kansas?
Tennessee.
Okay.
I could be wrong. And it's not that I haven't done the research. I haven't cared to really,
Dig into it.
it's like, do I need to know all the details? I kind of seen this already. Haven't you seen this already? We've all seen this before.
I think that's probably why I kind of tuned out. Like I got gist of it, but I haven't seen the video. I didn't really know the folks that's involved. I just recently learned some specific details. But from my perspective, when these things kind of like happen, I've grown a certain type of aversion to it, simply because of all the other things that may or may not be tied to it.
Right.
A lot of this stuff just is very, unfortunate, but convenient for certain things.
Right. Like the police, you got this woman, right? It's like so much drama's going on behind the scenes, but didn't even know.
Yeah.
You floated to work on a Monday, unaware.
This is true. So yesterday when I came into work, I started having to just shoot the breeze conversation with our office manager, and for some reason I don't know why she brought it up and started talking about the
One
situation.
second. Ulrich is an educator for you guys that don't know. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, she started talking about the situation, and she was absolutely baffled that I hadn't heard about it. And so I mean,
So you
I don't know.
admitted to not knowing. Can you move over just a
Yeah,
second?
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
So
not
you
insecure,
admitted to
yeah.
you admitted to not knowing.
Yeah, and I'm not insecure about it because it's truly not. The only person that needs that information is about what happened and the details of that family. So I don't know what we're going to use with this information.
Right.
And I think what the doc was alluding to is that this situation is being used, but anything but to remember, I guess, this individual, remember what happened to his life, is probably being used for political gain, or monetary gain, for agenda gain, and so on and so forth. So it's kind of hard for me to, even if I probably heard about this issue peripherally. Probably just as soon as I heard it, like a cop, a black man death happened. They just tune it out.
So what do you know so far after now that's you went to work Monday
Yeah.
and then you had all day Monday, Tuesday, now today's Tuesday night. Where are you? What do you know? What do you know? What have you heard?
So I know it was I know that whatever video was, wherever the footage was, it was extremely brutal. I know that the person, similar to George Floyd, called out for his mother. I know that, well, this I learned today, actually, from today, that a lot of the people involved were also black cops. I think that's about, I don't know, I don't know what the person did.
Right.
I don't know what the person was accused of doing. I don't
Right.
know what the circumstance. And I do know these cops all had body cams on them. So the video was from some sort of people recording in addition to body cams. If that's correct, or if I'm wrong about that.
Okay. I like your vagueness. I like that and this is your 2 days of no research.
Yeah.
This is your 2 days of absorbing what you kind of getting what's going on.
Yeah, and I'm absolutely, to be honest, I'm absolutely numb to it. I have absolutely no strong, no type of emotion towards it,
Right.
what happened.
Right.
Because once again, like the doc said, it makes it's hard to think about it in a vacuum or in it, but whatever it's going to be leveraged for politically.
Right. Because immediately you're thinking this is leverage for political gains.
Yeah, it doesn't even seem like it's like the especially how salacious and how like neon signs it's in.
Yeah, everything
Yeah.
that you said was just a title. A title
Bullet
for a
points.
quote. Yeah, these are all bullet points. And what about you? Tell me what you know.
Well,
And tell me what you know for real, because you kind of let out and I stopped you.
so, for the most part, yet again, a young black person got killed by the cops. That's what I initially knew. I didn't know who was involved. I didn't know. Then I learned it was all black cops. And this is just all through conversation, folks that's talking about it, wailing about the situation, and that was pretty much
Wailing?
right. Wailing or talking about it. This is horrible. This is messed up. This is happening again.
So everyone that you hearing it from is coming at you on the like, oh my gosh. And what about you? Were they coming at that? There was a sadness on your end.
Yeah,
There's kids involved.
They were almost in tears.
Tears.
But even so, even the initial, I guess, coming up with the subject where it was kind of like, on the news, because I think, I came across some news flashing that was talking about, I was at someplace buying something, and that came up, and this kid got killed, and so on and so forth. So immediately.
So why was you like out to lunch?
Right. So my thoughts was like, oh, it's one of these things again. That's So I had kind of like some specific thoughts about that, but the story kind of like started to morph and have more pieces to it. And one of those pieces, like, no, all the cops happen to be black. And then yesterday, matter of fact, I was having a conversation with a young lady, And I haven't talked to for a while, but she usually call me every once in a while, and we'll have these conversations. And this is one of the topics that she brought up.
Right.
And she was like, "Oh yeah," and that's when I learned that there was some association between one of the cops, and so none of this stuff I ever verified or anything like that. But that's kind of like the word that was out there.
What was
that,
the word?
That one of the cops, in other words, one of the cops, they're not completely strangers. There's some type of link between one of the police officers and the victim.
They have history.
So
Right.
So
So it's
that's
interesting. And this person that you heard this from, was she only calling you to talk about this, or this came up during your talk?
No, she didn't call me just to talk about that. She usually called me up just to talk about various topics and stuff like that. So it just happened to be one of them that came up, and she's like, "Oh, what do I think about that?" And I was like, "I haven't really heard about it. So what's going on with it?" And then
Right.
she just kind of told me that.
And is this a platonic friend or someone
It is.
you date? A platonic.
Yeah.
I say that because Ulrich in his bubble was sad, and there was sadness. You in your bubble, it was scandalous. This reality has something for everyone. And no one is going to do the research because they almost banning the research. You're not even allowed to go on to this platform here and view it like the way you should. I saw it from other outlets, and then I caught a live program that disguised themselves by going live for like 6 hours, and then they notified everybody and played all the videos. And they hid themselves in that kind of a 9-hour live feed. And they showed the video and they commentated on the video, and that was on Friday when it was fully supposedly released.
Wait, when did this happen?
This happened a month ago, 20 days ago, 20-something, 22 days ago, something to that effect. And basically what we do is we got a guy and he's driving, and you realize really quickly that it's a police officer body cam. And you can see his hands, the steering wheel, he's looking Caucasian. He jumps out of a vehicle, and now he runs towards a person that's being dragged out of a car. And he holds the person's legs down. And the whole time he's yelling, "Give me your hands, give me your hands." While if his body camera goes up a little bit, you can see that there's someone's hand being stepped on. And then there's another person standing here acting like he's gonna kick the person on the ground in the face. So he's being held by one hand by an officer holding his legs. He has the taser in his hand, and he's holding his hand up against his thigh. And he's basically pushing the arm against the thigh, and he has the stun gun in the other hand, and he's screaming, "Give me your hands." And they're all yelling, "Give me your hands. Get on the floor, get on the floor." He's like, "Yo, I'm on the floor. What do you want from me? I'm on the floor already." And now he sees the officers like gonna kick him in the face and stuff. So he's like, "What the hell? Yo, relax, you're going too far." Mind you, he was at a red light. Normally when a cop pulls you over, the lights go on, you let the person pull over to the right so you can clear the highway with the traffic and all that. This never happened. All you see is a guy, police officer in his police car, jumps out of his police car simultaneously. So that means that the man that's being pulled out of his car, as he's driving, that's happening. He jumps out just to grab legs, and then he grabs the arm and the legs, pulls out the tape, and then you hear one of the officers start screaming. And that's when the guy that's on the floor hears an officer scream. He jumps up and he gets away from the cops. As he's now, the white officer who had his legs is now, as he's turning, running, pow, hits him with the taser gun. And he's like, "Ah!" And he pushes those tasers and he runs off. The next clip is still the same clip as from the white guy's body camera. And what was interesting is that I watched it 3 or 4 times, and it's totally time out of place, because you see one of the officers that screamed, he had pepper sprayed himself. So an officer pepper sprays himself, screams, "Oh!" And the guy jumps up and he's like, "Out of here." And he's running. The camera switches to now the officer stops running after only running not even 100 yards. 100 yards is a football
100 yards is a
field.
lot.
Wait. Not even running 20 yards. 20 yards. Yard is 3 feet. He barely ran 20 yards. And then out of nowhere, you see an officer walking back towards the white guy. And they're both out of breath. He's complaining that his eyes are burning him. The white officer is pouring water all in his eyes to take away the effects, which I know milk works. I don't know, water is never supposed to be what your go-to is. But he's pepper sprayed himself. So now the officer is on the phone, on his walkie-talkie, he's saying, "I deployed my taser," he went running, black male, skinny, wearing this, wearing that. They never talk about where did the third officer go that was stepping on the guy's wrist. There's no discussion whatsoever in any of the stuff that I've seen. Where's the third officer that was stepping on his wrist? We don't know. Possibly he jumped in his car and chased after him while he was running. That's probably what happened. But you couldn't see it from that body camera, which shows there's time that's been taken away from that body camera. That's 100%. They're redacting all of this kind of stuff because we allow the police to police themselves.
So wait. So was what you just described a full descriptor of what was seen in the video?
This is just like that. This is just what you see in the video. No conjuncture or conjecture. What's when you start guessing and putting stuff in? What is that?
No, conjecture.
Conjecture. So there's no conjecture here. What we have here is the next body camera footage. The next body camera footage is now it's not body camera footage. It's taken from the street camera.
Okay.
And you can see it's an oscillating camera that it's turning back and forth, and then it stops and is now zoomed in onto the police itself. This is why they talk about it's related to Rodney King, because it has the bird's eye view from the distance, pretty clear. It's a little grainy, maybe 400p, 420p, but it's not in HD.
The meat of
This
the
is when you
beating?
get the meat of the beating.
Okay.
And what it appears is that we have him being held down on the floor. The whole time they're screaming for him to give me your hands. They have his hands, but they're screaming, "Give me your hands." And when the officer that had gotten blinded with the pepper spray, he shows up with the kick to the face. Boom. The two other officers that are holding him down, they now pick him up and they got him by the armpits and the wrist. And he's like being held by the armpits and the wrist. And this officer now is hitting him with he could barely run. The guy's so fat. The nerve of this guy to be this fat and have this job. This out of shape and have this job.
The one who got pepper sprayed?
That pepper sprayed himself. Yeah. This fat fuck decides to, oh man, we're never getting monetized. Well, now I read through it again and they said, no, continuous profanity. So, this is hopefully an appropriate F-bomb. But he punches him at least 3 times. We're talking about they're holding the man up and he's teeing off. Boom, boom, boom. Like where it's like a Rocky movie. Okay?
Yeah, I know.
It's like a Rocky movie. Yeah. Then the other cop shows up. Now you see his body camera. His body camera. This is away from that camera. He's the guy who pulls out the stick and he starts beating the guy with the stick like at least 2 times. So he got kicked in the face on the floor twice. He got hit with the nightstick at least twice. But we're talking about head, nightstick to the head, right? And then he got socked by 2 different officers at least 3 times each. 3 to 4 times each. boom, 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 boom to the face. They let him fall. They got him in handcuffs. The paramedic shows up. The paramedic does nothing. And they trying to get him to like, yo, come on, just sit up. So they want him handcuffed, sitting up, and he keeps rocking back and forth. But during one of the beating moments, he yells out, "Mama! Mama!" Yo, I see a lot of videos. That was not easy. Like, that was no joke, yo.
And that's the feeling, and that's kind of like the impression I've gotten from everybody. Like, that was really a retching type of video. So that's why I, really don't want to even see it. But, this is, it's problematic. And,
So let's let Trey talk us through this. Let's play Trey.
Okay.
Trey back again, did y'all little video. Hope y'all are having a very great day. Hope y'all are having a very great week also. My day is going absolutely stupendous. Big shout out to all the channel members, all subscribe to the Trey King Show family. And much love to each and every last one of you all. And you all, we have a story out of Tennessee by way of Memphis. And big shout out to everybody in the great state of Tennessee, everybody in the great city of Memphis. Now, before I start the story, I want to send a special condolences out to the family of Tyree Nichols, because it's very sad what happened to this young man. And all this could have been prevented if a butthurt, ex-boyfriend would have went on by his business and left this man alone, because this man did not have to wind up dead. And shame on anybody that's saying that they are trying to change the narrative, because the narrative should always be justice for all, no matter what color you are, no matter what sex you are. But anyway, I also want to thank my channel members and also my subscribers for sending me this story, because I was just waiting till a little bit more details come out. And yes, I wasn't one of the first one to jump on the story, because I knew it was just some fishy. You get what I'm saying? I ain't talking about story kids tuna. But as you look a little deeper, guess what? A lot more things come to the light. Now, what's being said lately is that ex-officer that is, Demetrius Haley, who happened to be 30 years old, baby mama, works at FedEx, and also Tyree Nichols was working at FedEx. And as you can see, this was confirmed by CBS News, because CBS be on every damn thing. So people are saying that the reason why Tyree Nichols was killed was because ex-police officer Demetrius Haley did not like the fact that he was dating his child mama. And I'm gonna tell you like this: when somebody don't want you, the best thing to do is let them go. But the fact is this also is that you got these other guys tied to this mess also. And you have to understand one thing about these cops. And I'm not talking about all cops. I have cops in my family also. And big shout out to all the good cops out there. Even though I know there are few far in between, but you still have good cops in the work. I'm not gonna sit up here and try to make every cop to be bad. But also, if you're one of these so-called good cops and you protect it and you hide the information and getting your friends off, and your friends out here doing wrong by the citizens and stuff that pay your salary, shame on you. Because if you're going to be right, be right. If you're going to be wrong, be wrong. But I'm going to say this right here. This is what happened when you follow the wrong people. Now, on January the 7th, Tyree Nichols was on his way home, and he was approximately between 80 to 100 feet from his home when he was stopped by, Demetrius Haley and the Goon Squad. But even though they are not called the Goon Squad, they are affiliated with some kind of gang unit that they have. And my thing is this right here: if you're affiliated with a gang unit, why are you sitting up here following a guy who has no criminal record or whatnot? Because you're not going to have a criminal record working at FedEx.
I think the name of the police squad was like Scorpion.
yeah.
That was their moniker, whatever the word is.
Monica.
BS like that. But how can you follow a guy with no criminal record, and then your justification for stopping this guy and beating the living hell out of him was the fact that you said he was driving reckless? And clearly he was not driving reckless. And I'm gonna tell you something also. This is what my people told me, who are cops also, even though they don't like to share the secrets, is that one of the easiest things to stop somebody on when they're driving is for reckless. You know what I'm saying? Reckless driving, like if they cross on the white line, or if they veering side to side too much or whatnot. I mean, that's the easiest reason for you to pull somebody over. So if I'm pulling Tyree Nichols over, Demetrius and his squad proceeded to, number one, snatch this man out the car, and within a matter of seconds, started beating the living hell out of this man. And also, how you sit up here and give somebody 70 to 80 commands, and then you expect them to comply with all commands, when you had one officer saying do this, and then you had another officer saying do that. That was clearly a setup, because that's what cops do sometimes. It's no different than you walking out taking these field sobriety tests sometimes. Those tests are designed to make you fail. Now, true enough, I don't agree with driving drunk, but at the same time, I mean, if you're going to be a police officer, at least be right. Because guess what? That could be you or even your family being done like that. But at the same time, how we go from you stopping a guy from driving reckless And then this guy wind up being beat. And then these punks have the nerve, yes, these punks had the nerve to brag about it. Man, I was hitting him with straight.
I was hitting them with straight haymakers, dog. Ooh, you were hitting them right. You were hitting them right. This is what they're saying to each other.
So wait. They called, so when
This
did
is
they call
body
this?
camera.
They called this directly after the attack. When he
The
said-
guy's still down on the ground.
Oh, when it's,
And they're talking on the side. Like all the cops are like bragging about what happened.
oh, so this is more cut and this is getting more. The more you talk about, the more cut and dry it's seeming.
Yeah.
This is a simple, unambiguous situation.
Now, 5 of these cops was arrested. 5 of these cops were black. And then you had one white officer who I think was using a stun gun. He was not charged, but he should also be charged also. But guess what? You could have easily called in for help. I understand, like I told y'all earlier in this video, is that these cops protect each other. So I want to make this point also before I start the story. Is the reason why people are saying that Demetrius Haley is behind this. Number one, what cop sit up here and arrest a guy, beat him down, and then pull out his cell phone, start taking pictures, and also texting somebody. And they say the person that he was texting was his ex-baby mama, showing her what he did to Tyree Nichols. And shame on him for doing that. And they all should be punished. This man stayed in the hospital for 3 days, lost his life. Then pull out his cell phone, start taking pictures, and also texting somebody. And they saying the person that he was texting was his ex-baby mama, showing her what he did to Tyree Nichols. And shame on him for doing that. And they all should be punished. This man stayed in the hospital for 3 days, lost his life. And I'm gonna tell you this right here. For anybody sitting up here saying that he could have complied, how can you comply when somebody wants you dead? You get what I'm saying? It's no difference if you walk down the street and you crossing the road and nobody's in your way. All of a sudden somebody just pop up in your way. You know what I'm saying? Whether they run over there towards you or stop a car. I mean, some things you cannot avoid. So I'm saying this, when somebody want to do you harm, guess what? They're going to do it to you. But that's the reason why you should have people out here speaking up and standing for what's right. Anyway, we'll break the rest down as I read a snippet from the story. I'm going to read a quick snippet from the story, and I am going to give my opinion, all of it. Surely, as we go. Did Tyree Nichols get killed because he was dating Demetrius Haley ex? Chances are that's a big yes. But this is the rumor that is going on in Memphis, Tennessee. And no, I do not deal with rumors or speculation, but at the same time, when you got this much evidence, chances are something may be true. But how you sit up here, number one, kill a guy, and it's clearly premeditated. You kill a guy all because you mad because he's dating your ex. I mean, it seemed like to me that you would be happy that she got somebody who's really basically a square. And I don't mean no disrespect toward that. And people looking like, what's a square? A square is just an average working Joe, just an average working guy who was not about no street life. And this the person that you all decided to kill. With all that crime and danger going on in Memphis, you talking one of the least violent person. You take him out. Meanwhile, you got people getting gunned down every day in Memphis, Tennessee. But it's kind of funny and sad that you all supposed to be a gang unit, but you clearly overlook all that. So maybe this is the reason why the killers and these drug dealers are still running around free, because the police are letting them run around free. Anyway, let's continue. Now, when 29-year-old Tyree Nichols was stopped by police at Memphis, Tennessee on January 7th, what police said was suspicion of reckless driving. Notice I told you about the reckless driving part. That's one of the easiest reasons to pull somebody over. And also, he was beaten so badly that 3 days later, he was dead. And thank God for that video, because I'm sure these cops did not know that they were being videoed. And this is the reason why some of those body cameras be cut off, too, at the same time. But lo and behold, guess what? God is not asleep. You're not going to sit up here and do God people wrong any longer, and it's not going to be justice done about it. Because just think about it, before cell phones and surveillance cameras came out, these cops used to get away with murdering people, hurting people every damn day. You get what I'm saying? And no, I'm not.
What do you think about that? You know, the cell phone has changed the game. You know, the body cameras have changed the game. And I told you about the body camera stock all them years ago. It's still doing very well.
Body camera did.
You know,
What? So again, what are you gonna say?
So the body camera, given that this person is telling the truth about the circumstances in the story, and given that everything he's saying is correct about them having a past together, the cop and this person, him dating the cop's baby's mother, I believe it is. This person stopping him unlawfully previously, and now this person getting into the situation. the body camera has done nothing. The body camera has done nothing because the body camera only proved to show the body camera only proved to show that cops are vicious and cops will beat a black person to death. That's what the body camera tells the story. That's all the body camera told. That's the only story it told.
Yeah.
So now the body camera is doing anything but telling the truth of the situation.
Right.
So the body now what's happening is now with body cameras, we can be opportunists with use of body cameras because now it's beneficial to be in. It's beneficial to have a situation where cops act unlawfully, or it's beneficial. It's beneficial to the person illuminating the situation or saying, "Hey, look, this cop acted badly.
Right.
This cop acted poorly," because that'll benefit the person who's pointing the finger. So now, given the fact, and this guy seems pretty sincere about his details. So yeah.
Well, it's still a rumor. It's still a rumor. Something that they're saying they're trying to push behind the scenes about this girl that he actually texted the picture of the guy dying.
I'm not concerned about the picture part. I'm concerned about them that they had a specific that they had a pass because that's verifiable. That they had that they dated. So if it's verified that they dated, they both have a connection or a mutual person that they dated for one, and it's verifiable that this person stopped him for what's believed to be a banal crime. So when he was stopped before he got beaten up, was he stopped on suspicion of reckless driving? Or was he stopped previously on suspicion?
No, I think the cops just one pulled up in front of him. This is the thing they never talk about. Is that third person. Who the hell is it? There's a cop car that drove in front of him.
Yeah.
And one drove on the side of him, and the white guy came from behind. So this is like real movie style running up on somebody.
So that's why this interaction. So do we know for sure what started this whole interaction? Like this whole interaction, the fact from point A, from this guy driving to the cops.
There's no. The only body camera we have, those cops didn't have their body cameras on. The only one that had the body camera on was the white cop that pulled up behind the guy getting pulled out of his car. Did he just happen to just make you know how cops look out for each other and they pull, but no, these guys had Dodge Chargers as police cars.
So this is where we have to look at the information that we're given and decide what kind of makes sense. So you have unmarked cars, out of uniform police officers. We have this information about, the body cams and cameras all over and stuff like that. That's a false sense of security.
Right.
This idea that we have all the cameras and everything is going to be recorded, that's to lull you to sleep. That you're going to see everything you need to see. And each and every time, we always see the failure of these cameras when it's necessary for us to see something. So we had a couple of months ago, we had people hanging themselves in jail when people were supposed to be watching, there's supposed to be cameras, nothing is working, they all went on break and the cameras are not working. Like, we have to believe this type of stuff.
Epstein we talking about.
So, yeah,
right?
so we believe these type of things, So we have 5 police officers. None of them have the camera. But we have this one that give us this one footage and this other, one that's in the streets and stuff.
Yeah.
I find these things hard to palate. And to just even take it, peace with the family and condolences, but I have a hard time to accept any of this.
Because we're living in the most surveilled
because
time.
It's weird for me to wrap my mind around it because.
Are you saying this is an algorithm story?
I don't know what it is, but the truth is, what 5 police officers that's going to put their careers on the line over you because you're jealous over some guy dating your girl. Guys don't move like that really, especially putting their job on the line like that. And then to move it in such crappy type of way, are they so loose of a cannon that, hey, we just gonna rough them up and then you just rough them up to death?
Did they, all right,
Like,
did the
you know-
officers know that they were black, so they might be less touchable, a little more untouchable? Since
No,
they
I
were
don't
black,
think so. No.
beating up a
What you're
black?
talking about is qualified immunity.
But here's the thing about it, it's like,
You know,
this-
cops have qualified immunity. You know about qualified immunity?
Yeah, qualified, yeah, no, that's not what I'm talking about.
Oh.
I'm talking, I'm talking about societal qualified immunity based on your race. So
Because we're black and he's another black guy? No.
that it's not a select-
Doesn't make sense. Why
no,
would
I
a
know.
person take a chance and even take the picture?
It doesn't make sense that they attacked him in this
How
way.
consumed
It
with
doesn't
your
make sense.
ego
Could you-
would you take a picture of a person getting beat up that's linked to your ex
Right,
and
and you're a
send it
police
to
officer.
her?
Yeah, but time
Who
out.
would
Wait,
believe
time out.
that?
Our egos. Time out. Some of these people who correct. All right, I'm really into like true crime stuff and really like that crazy, salacious, messed up stories. And what's really recurrent, I'm saying, in a lot of the true crime stuff I'm hearing is these people would do things that incriminate them like no tomorrow. Where people kind of almost seek out being.
They want to be
What it's more, it's a low sense of celebrity. In this sense,
a low sense of celebrity.
but I don't think this is what makes this interesting. I don't think this person had any incentive to kill this person in order to make them not a threat to their baby's mother. So I don't think so I agree with the doc in saying that. I don't believe it makes sense that this person killed simply just to get
Wait. We got a doctor here. Did they realize that those punches and kicks were death blows in any way?
And that's what I was alluding to. Can they have been so out of control? What was supposed to be roughing up got to a point where they caused so much damage that they actually killed this person and was kind of like surprised afterwards, like, oh, he died. You know, was they shocked by that? So I'm not sure. The thing is you know the amount of effort you know put behind certain maneuvers, like a clean head kick is something that could really put somebody out, and I don't think you really need to.
clean head kick, a punch, and
A soccer kick, you mean?
Yeah, soccer. So
Which they still allow in Japan, the soccer kick.
you know, so it doesn't make a lot of sense. It's way too risky for the folks who are not intimately involved to take those chances. So that's why it coming out the way it is kind of like strange. And not to mention, I don't have any qualms about the actions that were taken, but it's like scenarios playing on top of scenarios, because there's a group of people out there that's gonna be like, they didn't even really do any investigation and they fired these guys on the spot. This ain't never occurred before.
Yeah.
So it's like
No due process for
No,
the
none-
cops.
none at all.
Yo, I don't get that.
So
how are they not giving the cops due process? May I?
Are we
May I?
ushering a new thing going on? Are we ushering a new view of where these things are happening, where there's no due process, and then when it happens on that end, it happens on our end also?
Like, did
As
they do an
citizens.
autopsy?
And all these different things.
Yeah.
So
What did the autopsy
what did it
say?
show? What did
yeah, but even going back to George.
This is mine right here, right? That orchard, the angry orchard is
Yes,
mine, right?
let's just say
Because, all right.
Anyway, going back to George Floyd, they did an autopsy of George Floyd. They said that George Floyd specifically, the reason why they say that knee to his neck was what killed him was because there was bruising on the back of his neck. Not because in your doctor, they didn't say there was any proof of asphyxiation. The proof of asphyxiation came from a bruising on the back of his neck or everything. Not that there was a compression, I don't want to talk the jargon, not that there was a compression in the lungs, not that there was I remember there was like striations or anything in his eyes that would insinuate he was strangled. But the conclusion that the coroner made was that the reason why he was killed by strangulation was because of that. So, the same way
you
this
as a
is,
doctor, we've talked about this on another
About
show.
that, yes.
That's not,
Doesn't seem.
that doesn't,
Yeah.
like, he should have been passed out from the neck press, but
It was all
never.
that.
Yeah, he would just passed out, but.
yeah, but I
You
mean,
get,
I didn't
when you
mention,
get,
I
when you get
didn't,
strangled,
All
you
right,
get passed
yeah,
out.
I didn't mention, but the only reason I mentioned the George Floyd, I didn't mention George Floyd thing, but here,
Autopsies.
clarity and autopsy or autopsies don't bring any clarity or justice to anything. None of these, the more information we're getting, it kind of convolutes the issues more than it makes it more
When we're
clear.
dealing with a well-woven machine, what comes in front of you to be viewed is there for a purpose. So the thing is, you are going to see the things that you need to see to come to the conclusion that you're being steered to conclude. You know,
You're gonna need to see what you need to see.
So you're gonna be nudged, you're
you're
gonna present to the things that you need
We're
to
being
see.
nudged.
Right.
That's
So-
why I started this pod with,
So-
there's something for everyone.
Mhm.
This is what's so great about this reality. we have.
Hopefully, we've talked about this before, and I think it seems to make its way around in every show. And it unfortunate for Trey, but I'd like to get to a point where all our young men get to the point that they're really vetting who they're being with. And now, if he said, this young woman have picked somebody, decide to give this person the best she could give him, and give him a child and so on and so forth. Young lady, you need to go find yourself and go make it work out with that guy. You have nothing to give me.
She chose him.
Yeah, but they always choose you, but you have to take them
Wait,
back.
who are you saying is not vetting who?
We
Who's
talking
not vetting?
about the man,
It's
the
not-
cop that was so out of control.
The cop didn't vet the girl, or
No,
the girl
no,
didn't
no.
vet the guy?
The Trey didn't vet the woman that he was dating, which ultimately ended up in the
That she
Yeah,
had a crazy police
Boyfriend.
boyfriend.
No, but he didn't. You can't vet that. How you gonna vet that?
Well, what
She
you could
considered a
what-
jump out boy.
What you could vet is the fact that she gotten so far along that she procreated and give to some guy the best that she could offer.
I love where you're going with this. I
And
love where you're going with
so
this.
it's like and it's a hard reality, it's a harsh truth. But if
Yeah.
you move that way, he would be in a different
You
place.
see this?
You
This
can't
is
get-
you have to understand the age. This is a different kind of age here. Right here. He's like, how am I supposed to vet her? I was just smashing.
I knew you.
I was just smashing. How am I supposed to know that he's gonna come while I'm walking out to my car and blow my brains out?
I mean, how do you anticipate
Well, just-
something so?
You need to
something-
have conversations with these women. What kind of men were you with? What's up with your last
And
boyfriend?
she'll tell him.
Yeah, when
It's gonna come
how did it break up? What's going on with that? You need to know if you got. I remember. Let me tell you a quick story.
Okay.
All right, we're in the this is the club now. I used to be in the bar business, then I was in the club business, and when I say in the business, I was considered a managing partner, which basically means I can still be fired, and I'm not necessarily the owner, but everyone around you thinks this guy must have ownership the way he maneuvers and moves around. So, and then I of course get a percentage of the business's growth, not gross, but wow, that was Freudian. The net profit. And so, what was I going to say?
You talk about vetting. You're talking about the difference.
Oh
between
yeah.
us and
So
the
now
ladies, yeah.
we got this girl that she shows up as a bartender, and I heard about this girl from other bars, and she's really fast. She's no joke. And I liked her energy, and I liked the way she was able. I was like, "This is
Fast
the time."
worker, you mean?
Fast worker. She was a fast
Good
worker.
therapy.
She was good with the customers. She spoke Spanish. Well, she spoke her variation of Spanish. But let me just say this: she was a fucking amazing bartender. The night we opened, or 2 nights after we opened, her boyfriend shows up. I fired her the next day. I told her I was going to try new people and I'm going to rotate the scheduling of the people. Why did I do that? Because her boyfriend just so happened to be one of the most serious people in the Bronx. And what happens if I catch this chick stealing? Or what happens if I gotta, put somebody in their place or something like that? I now gotta deal with her man, who is a very serious player in the Bronx. So I had to do that as a boss in a job. You have to do that with the women you're sleeping with as well. You gotta find out who are they with and what's this person's like, what is he like? What's the father like? You have to ask the tough question. Remember I told you once before, does she got any references? The doc had a friend and I wanted him to step to her and say, yo, I need some references because it was looking too shiny and nice. You know how
You know, that ain't ever gonna work.
What? That ain't never gonna work?
No, like, oh, you have any references?
That's ridiculous.
But
that's,
no,
that's every time you hear
but
that.
it's just
That's what I
I
hear.
thought
That's
you
what I
said you did
hear.
ask for the
No,
reference.
that's what I hear. That's when I hear you say vetting people. That's what I hear. That's when you hear say vet. The only way the vetting is gonna bear fruit is if you have some sort of reference.
No, vetting is just,
Otherwise, in order to vet, you have to have full. How are you gonna vet somebody by the source of what could be potentially
the way most people
untrustworthy?
get vetted. Most people get vetted.
But you can't. You have to vet them to other channels. You cannot vet through the person themselves. It doesn't make any sense.
Yes.
That's
But then-
ridiculous.
Can I say something
That's
real
big.
quick?
They will tell you everything you need to know.
Let me say
You have to-
something.
Yeah,
You have to go back
that
to the
just
website.
that presumes that the person is fully transparent and honest.
No, they don't need to be.
All right.
They just-
Let me say this, guys, real quick. I just thought about it. I gotta clean this up a little bit. Because yes, I told the young lady that was working for me that we're gonna try other people, and that was for me never to call her back to come work for me again. But there was another aspect of it that happened. And years later, I was at this person that I'm speaking of owns a detailed car wash. And I knew that this person who owns this car wash, who he was. And I knew he was the guy who was who had that woman. That was one of his, his main pieces, other than maybe his wife. And he came to me and he says, yo, man, I'm glad I got to see you, man. I heard you, I always asked about his mother was there working the register and all that. And I always was nice to her and I would always inquire about him, very respectful. He says, yo, man, thanks for always asking about me with my mother, but I want to tell you something, man. I was wrong that day when I went to get bought. And the way I acted and the way I was acting like that. And he said, I understood what you did when you told her. And I just want to let you know, I apologize for the way I acted. I was like, wow. So I gotta always remember that story. Do I say his name? No, I don't say his name, right? No. He knows who he is if he's ever watching, but I always remember what a real dude that guy was. Because he was his energy was so gangster and so bravado. I said, there's no way I can have this chick working for me. And he apologized to me 5 years later. How great is that?
All right.
Well, go ahead.
Listen, I see what you're saying. That was a good story. I appreciate it.
I digress.
Listen, but
We're talking about vetting women.
But think about vetting.
We're talking. Let me go. We're talking about vetting women and how if you're dating a woman, I would say definitely talk to her ex.
Yeah, we went from police brutality
If
to
you could,
relationships.
if you could.
No, it's all part of it because let me tell you, if this is true,
This is what's important.
if this is true, this is premium black news. Let's not get it twisted.
You know,
This
and
is-
how you young guys, if you're young or older guys, then how you should be moving out
Young
here.
guy like this guy,
Anyways.
young guy like this, I'm telling you now. They need to be vetted.
Yeah.
This is all right. This is
You need to know
what this is?
what if this
You know what
person
this
has
is?
a gangster
You know what
ex.
this is actually you're having almost a biblical discourse. And you don't even know it.
Right.
You're talking about
Tell
the
me.
difference between the having faith and understanding and trust within yourself, and you're talking about the difference between somebody somebody who kind of takes inventory on every opportunity. He focuses on every scenario.
$25, all right?
Anyway, a person who focuses on every scenario and a person who maps out for himself each and every door that they go through. Do you think that one person who does the first thing, who maps out every door he can go through, who's very cerebral and who's very suspicious and thinks about the people he with, is in any better position than a man who's blindly trusts and is in faith?
No. Faith is not going to help.
No. The whole point of the entire point I'm making is the person who the person who thinks who goes through every door is just a person who's scared and who is frightened of being hurt. No. I know. I'm talking about with a woman.
Ah.
I'm talking about is the person who thinks, this woman has a good family. This woman has a good head on her shoulders. This woman has a couple degrees. This woman might be the right woman. Let me tell you, I went through that vetting process. but I'm not saying the person.
That's the wrong stuff. We're talking about does she have a dangerous boyfriend?
I'm not talking. But I'm not. Listen, I was saying. I was using me as a jest. That was my conclusion.
Right.
That ultimately is what I'm saying.
Land the plane. Come on, land the plane.
Ultimately, what I'm saying is a person who's very cognizant and conscious of every scenario that he can go down is not any more successful as the person who throws himself in at first. So therefore, saying that a veteran does as good as a person who's faithless, because a veteran is only as strong as the extent of his personality. So in other words, he can find things that he didn't even know I'm landing in. He can find the veteran can take inventory of all these kinds of personality things. Everything to how strong her nails are and how strong her nails might be in the future. But there is something that he can miss that's so profound and so tiny that it can change the whole trajectory and offset all the vetting he did. Now, what I'm saying is, it's as volatile as a person with faith. So the vetting does not make you any more successful as somebody who has faith and goes with their instincts. There's some people who trust their gut, and there's some people who trust their analytics. And listen, there's no way to say either's have been successful, because your analytics numbers lie the same way your instincts and your passions lie. So you mustn't say that vetting is the ultimate way to go, because it's not.
So now,
I want you to take over, because this is your point, and I want you to get to that.
I'll say this. I completely disagree. And the thing about it is to assume when you're vetting, you're going to vet either because you're doing analyticals or you're going to go with your gut. When you're vetting, you're using all of that stuff. All of it is kind of being used. And then we talk about the difference between,
How do you vet with your gut?
Well, listen. So that you're talking about how you talk about, or you just feel something. Well, you know what? This person just doesn't feel right. For whatever reason. That's what you're talking about. And you're saying that. So I'm saying that stands for something. You have to trust yourself in those matters. You may not have an explanation on why. I just don't trust this.
You're in the knowing.
Yeah, in the knowing. I just don't trust this young woman. You decide to move on. So that's just for you to kind of decide.
Wouldn't you say that's not vetting though? Going with your gut? Wouldn't you
But
disagree
that
that
is
that's a vetting?
No. Vetting is saying, okay, based on my interaction with this person.
Okay, so if I go with my gut, if I go with my gut and I don't know things about her, then I vetted her, so I can have certain.
Okay, fine. But listen. But we're talking about. It's not neither that. So what you want to do is do that and cut everything else off. But what I'm saying, it involves that and all the other faculties that you have. And this is what happens as, you mature and bring these other things into your realm. Because for somebody before, when they were 15, them vetting a chick is how good she looked.
Yes.
That's their vetting.
Yeah.
As you get older, maybe when they're 18, does she work?
Excellent.
That's the next vetting. Then it becomes something that, do. So now you get to a certain point. It gets to a certain point where your vetting process involves, do you have crazy exes and bad past relationships? And how those things going to affect what you're going to do with me moving forward.
Boom.
Listen.
Boom.
And it's gonna get to that point, you know.
You're not there yet, Owen.
It may seem like a
You're
fault
not
to
there
you,
yet.
you know. So
You're
but-
still, you're not there yet. You're not
No,
there
no,
yet.
you're playing the age card on me, and that's
No, it's not it.
It's
Yes,
the
you are. You're
normal
playing
thing.
the
It's a
age
real
card.
thing. It's
Because
a real
listen,
thing.
listen,
Yo,
you-
it take that dude. The journey that we're living on, sir. Let me
Listen, all right, go ahead.
This is a journey. Life is. You got to live life on life's terms. And I know you can't just be vetting everything that's gonna make you look like you're going through every door. I get your point. What I'm saying is just certain things.
To keep
You
things.
don't need no chick with no baby whose baby father is one of the jump out boys. Their adrenaline has to be so high. It's ridiculous. They're feeding off of moments in time where they're in complete tunnel vision.
Emotional
Pure-
junkies.
Yeah. These are emotional. These are people that are just. These are psychopaths, man. Respectfully.
No, red flags are the same as evil. Evil is very hard to see. Red flags are not as easy to see as you would think they are. The same way evil
Yeah,
is
but as you get
hidden.
older,
Same way
you-
red
red
flags.
flags are
I don't think so. I
That's
really
okay.
think
That's
so.
fine. But the thing is,
I didn't think
your
so.
I think
child.
red flags are. I think red flags
Yes.
are hard to see.
You know what I used to think
Yes.
a red flag was when I was coming up? See what her mother looked like. If her mother's fat, don't fuck with her.
See, and these are things that
That's
happen
what I-
early on,
that-
and then it develop. Your
But,
red flags.
yeah,
That
but-
was me at 30. That was
You're
me
talking
at
about
30.
easy vetting. I get easy vetting having you having you're dating a girl who has a baby's dad who's maybe the part of a gang and is very belligerent and kind of just pops
gets
off.
to-
That's easy vetting. The vetting, but that doesn't change.
Oh, they
that
hide
won't
it.
change
The
it.
women will hide
That
it.
won't change the trajectory. Exactly. So what's the point of vetting if they
No,
were
no, but you gotta let them
It
know
gets-
from
it
the
gets to a
beginning.
certain point.
Yeah.
It gets to a
She,
certain point, or like
she
say
might
for
not
example,
volunteer it. Sorry, go ahead.
you
Yeah. So how you go vet them?
You
you're,
gotta ask.
What you go investigate?
Ask the right
If
question.
she
Let
will
the doc
volunteer.
finish.
yeah.
Go ahead,
You're a
Doc.
young man. You're working on yourself. You're doing your things and so on and so forth. Okay, you without child, as far as you know, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So now the thing about it is that you say, for example, you know, you come across this young woman who likes you and stuff like that, you know, and she have, you know, 2 children.
Yeah.
You know, and the thing about it is, what I'm saying is that she could be an absolutely wonderful person. And say if you met her, somebody like her who don't have any children.
That's me vetting for my ego. That's not me
Why-
vetting for my well-being. That
That's not me vetting-
this woman.
Well, we
this
want
woman-
you to vet for
I'm-
your
I'm
well-being,
just gonna
sir.
go- I'm gonna walk through this.
So
This
she's
woman
a
with
ego
this woman with a
well-being.
child could have been amazing for me. She could have had her stuff together. She's grounded. She has 2 children. My ego is gonna make me say, this woman has a child and going through this baggage. She could be actually better for my life than she would be for a younger woman who has a different. So my vetting process could be flawed because my vetting
Uma
process
Johnson
might be
would love
because of
this
my
guy.
ego.
I mean,
And don't
listen,
ever compare
Uma,
me.
what-
Don't
Uma
ever
Johnson
compare me.
would love you
Don't
right
ever
now.
compare me to Uma Johnson. I got it.
Yeah.
Don't ever compare me to Uma Johnson.
Umar Johnson was just
Don't ever
telling.
disrespect me like
Yeah, he was just talking about you need to be married to single mamas.
Do not listen to Oric's perception. And the thing about it is,
Wait, you can't tell people not to listen.
listen, young guys, don't do that.
But this
Don't
is
do that.
this is the great thing.
No,
though.
it's great. Wait, I
Because
mean,
look, it shows that your age, my age, his
There's a
age,
difference.
there's different
But ultimately-
evolutionary processes that can
but this is
happen.
the thing. We have to stop the repeating and the circular, you know, the merry-go-round. Because, you know, I have to go to, you know, elders and be like, you know what, you were right about certain things until I saw it.
Right.
They
right.
had to do it. And the
Right.
thing is, at some point, we have to get to a point and like really learn from the things and the experiences that others have had so we don't repeat that, so we can actually make another step forward. Do you know, as far as our evolution, you know, mentally, spiritually, and stuff like that, we've been pretty much stagnant. We have not grown as a species at all.
Look at music.
We think the exact
Look at
same
art.
way. We have not gotten
Look
better.
at the Star Wars movies.
You know.
I agree.
I'll say this: we're talking about the red flag things, and what I'll say is that, you know, throughout, you know, our age as we get older, our goal, it may be very hard to figure out, you know, or very hard to see the evils and the red flags and stuff like that, but this is what you're working on. You sharpening your discernment, so you're able to tell those differences.
Right.
You know, and this is why, you know, a little kid is walking by the pool, like, hey, get away from the pool, you'll fall in. They don't see that. Matter of fact, this weekend, I don't know if I told you. So Darius, my youngest son, we have a treadmill downstairs. Every time they're down there running with me, like, okay, you get on there, you can go up to 5, and they see me go. And every time he's trying to go up to 10, like, listen, that's too fast for you. Something may happen. Stop it. Don't get off of it. You're done for the day. So this weekend he goes down there. He's by himself. What does he do? He takes it to 10. And what happened? He slips and busts his head and got a little gash over his eyebrow. So I had to go and stitch it up and put the steri-strip and Dermaban on it. But the thing about it is, he did not want to learn from the discernment. See, I kind of saw that, but he couldn't see that. But he's able to see that through having the experience.
You're saying I want to learn. I want to see the bruises.
Well,
Before I
No. I think it's absolutely normal. Whatever you're feeling about yourself, and you're in a knowing of who you are at this age of 32. It's so strong. It's so strong that you
are shuffling that age card, man.
No, dude. This is the trick. Getting older is the trick. But let's take a moment and let's talk about how amazing the hair looks at this age. Come on.
It's a perfect digression.
Come on. Let's not play this. Come on. I got this done at Punjabi over there on Broadway. Broadway and 72nd Street.
Doc, I like what you said about being able to discern from things as far as discern from certain danger. I don't disagree with when age and experience leads you to be able to say, I'm not gonna walk into that pool. I'm not gonna press that treadmill up to 10, because it can lead me to bad situations.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about with things like finding a woman or things like love, you can bet all your life. You can learn the same mistakes. That loneliness will overtake every ounce of your logic.
We'll revisit that. We'll revisit this conversation. In 5 years, we're going to revisit this conversation.
Okay.
In 5 years, we're going to do it again. All right.
Okay.
We'll see whether or not if any of the thoughts have changed. We're going to see.
I'm talking about all cops. The chickens weren't coming home to roost. Anyway, now according to the New York Times, several police officers gave Nichols 71 commands in 13 minutes. 71 commands in 13 minutes. This was designed for them to attack him, saying that you're not compliant. And then you have people like Fat Butt Jason Whitlock, the Fat TV personality. He basically tried to blame this on single black women, saying this is the product of single black women.
Disunity and violence that we see in a lot of these cities that are run by single mothers.
When he clearly seen these cops going overboard, beating him down. But he wasn't talking about the police officers being a product of single black women. No, he was talking about the guy getting killed, Tyreek Nichols, being a product of single black women. Like, how in the hell can you comply and put your hand behind your back when you're getting punched in your face, kicked in your chest or whatnot? He was beaten badly till he died. You know what I'm saying? So how can you comply? And then you got another bastard named Grant Stinchfield. And what a hell of a name, Stinchfield. Because this show stank over there. He said the same thing.
This all could have been avoided with one simple move. Tyreek Nichols could have complied from the moment he was pulled out of that car.
So all this would have been avoided if Tyreek Nichols would have complied. But I'm going to ask you, Grant Stinchfield, and what the last name you got. It's good for you. I'm going to ask you this. Could you comply if somebody was beating the living hell out of you? I'm sure you can. Anyway, now, back to the story. According to the New York Times, several police officers gave Nichols 71 commands in 13 minutes, many of which were confusing and also conflicted and sometimes even impossible to obey. And this is what the news station and other media outlets are saying, is that it was impossible for Tyreek Nichols to comply with any order that he was given. So for people who sit out there making these videos, these are dumb TV personalities because they're there for a reason. They sit up here just to sway your thought. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to tell you this right here. Stop looking at things on video and you clearly see what's going on with your own two eyes. But then somebody sit up here and tell you, like, no, that's not what you're seeing. And then you turn around and believe it. Even though your eyes are telling you one thing, but your mind is telling you another thing. They did that back in 2001. When you see something on video and it's live, it's not Photoshop, nothing like that, you best believe it. So, what I'm saying is this right here. What you saying?
Yeah, I heard that. I caught that
Did
too.
you catch that? We're not going to discuss it, but did you catch that? I'm going to play it one more time.
You turn around and believe it. Even though your eyes are telling you one thing, but your mind is telling you another thing. They did that back in 2001. When you see something on video and it's live, it's not Photoshop or nothing like that, you best
Exactly.
Wow.
You know what that alluded to?
You got all that, right? You got all that, right? That was pretty good. I didn't even catch that.
Yeah, but
I caught it now.
But see, to people, that's going to disregard everything he said already.
They didn't catch it. That was set for people. That's for the 9th level Jedi. He put that out there for the 9th level Jedi. Thank you, Trey.
What you seen, and then you turn
That's
around and
building
believe it.
7.
Even though your eyes are telling you one thing, but your mind is telling you another thing. They did that back in 2001. When you see something on video and it's live, it's not Photoshop or nothing like that, you best believe it. So, what I'm saying is this right here. What you see on this video is exactly what took place. These guys are very aggressive, and they had no business attacking this man like that. And I don't give a damn what color he was. He could be a white cop or a black cop. The point is this right here. Doesn't matter what color the cop is, if you down there being beat to death. And also, while I'm at it, let me add this to the story. Now, if a person is killing you or a person killed you, would you care what color that person was? I'm sure you wouldn't. I know I wouldn't. Because guess what? If you're dead, you're dead. And shame on the person who done it. So all these people always trying to make everything about race, it is about race sometimes. But clearly, this is premeditated. This was a hit. You get what I'm saying? So which one is worse? Somebody premeditating, somebody plotting to kill you, or someone just not liking you because of your skin color, and then they decide to do you harm? Which is worse? Somebody planning to kill you, plotting to kill you, or somebody just out the clear blue killing you? To me, it's all the same. You know what I'm saying? Anyway, let's finish up. Now let's go to this key part again. When the story says 7 police officers gave Nichols 71 commands in 13 minutes, many of which were confusing, conflicting, and sometimes even impossible to obey because of how police were pinning him down. And that's what they do. They'll tell you to sit up here, turn over, but at the same time they got their leg on the back of your legs. So how can you turn over somebody already pinning you down from your lower body? You know what I'm saying? You can't.
Exactly.
And then that's why they continue to rough you up. You know how it goes, some of you all. And also to my people out there who have seen this video, if you really watch the video, those instructions that they gave Nichols was not meant to help him or make him comply. It was meant to confuse him and make him disoriented, so therefore they can apply more pressure on him like they did. They knew exactly what they were doing. This is a tactic that they use, trust me. My own people told me. Anyway, let's close up. And we're going to end it right here with the news says. It says, the deployment of often nonsensical instructions underscores a key aspect of how Nichols ended up dead after a traffic stop. Now, nonsensical means something that makes no sense. It has no bearing to anything that is really going on. So, this clearly was a premeditated hit. But like I said earlier in the story, I don't know if this was because Officer Demetrius Haley, baby mama, or he was mad because she had moved on and wanted no more. But it's clearly more to the story than what they had told us at first. Now, I'm going to say this also, is that it's sad and tragic what happened to Tyre Nichols. And at the same time, when you have police doing this and operating in this capacity, what difference did them to the average street gangs and thugs out here that's hurting people? The way they was seen and shown in that video shows you the true nature of some of these people. And also the nerve of themselves, they're bragging about how hard they was hitting them and everything, just really just talking bad about the man. Yeah. After the man was already clearly beaten down to a pulp. And Tyre Nichols was a very thin guy. So you mean tell me, Officer Demetrius Haley, that out of all guys in Memphis, Tennessee, all guys running around there doing crime, you pick one of the most innocent person with really no criminal record, works at FedEx, and you mad all because he's allegedly dating or was dating your baby mama? Shame on you. And they all should give what coming to them. And also even a cop that was tasing them, the 6th cop that they have not charged. It doesn't matter because guess what? You could have easily tried to stop it, or if you couldn't stop it, guess what? Call in for backup just like you do anything else. Anyway, you all let me know what you think about the story. If there's anything I may have missed or misinformed, which is not my true intent, please let me know in the comment section, or you can email me and we can talk about it more there. If you like the video, push that like button. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel, become a channel member. Also share the video with your family and friends. So next time, you all stay blessed and have a great day. And I'll see y'all soon.
Good show. Trey's been at it a long time. I've been watching Trey since before he had the car accident. He actually, his voice is coming back, but there was for a time, he didn't even sound like himself because of the car accident. He has some lung issues maybe, but he's doing really good. He does really good. If you were to watch his show and you don't have the premium package, it would be like tons of commercials. He's like tons of commercials run on his stuff. So, but he's
monetized.
Yeah, he's definitely monetized. This is how he makes a living, and he's really good at it. He never ever gets involved in drama. and people try to call him out and try to bait him and all that kind of stuff. But he gives really good commentary. So Trey he's laid it out better than anyone else I've seen when it comes to the salacious parts of it, the baby mama drama and all that. But let's talk about the captain. It's a female, and Star from the Star Report was saying he wants her fired, and she, off bat, I didn't like her because she went to Don Lemon, CNN, and she did a lot of press right before the video came out, because this happened a month ago, and then they put the video out on a Friday, and then they started closing down certain parts of cities all around the country for the protests. And I just really was like, what distraction, what bill is being going through on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday that we are so unaware of? You see,
A little bit of research.
a little bit of research will let you know, right? If we were better YouTubers and you guys donated more than, speaking of donations, if you gotten any value out of this, you just hit the Cash App and you hit the Venmo, and we would love to, I wanted to say thank you to Miss Ruth. Miss Ruth, she left a very generous, she paid for all the beers today. And then some, so that's enough for us to get even beers next week. So thank you, Miss Ruth. We appreciate you. Let me see. The Venmo is at Elvis Rosenberg, at Elvis Rosenberg, and the Cash App is $ Elvis Rosenberg. Got any value? Hit that. Let me say this. What do you think about wanting the head of the one in charge, the black
Lady.
chief of police?
What was his issue in the first place with her? What did she do?
I honestly didn't really want to hear too much of what Star's show was, so I really didn't get into it. Only heard a couple little minutes here and there. But he wants her to be fired. He thinks that she's a representation of the people that, are under her. If you got a group of guys who go on rogue missions with no body cameras on, then she represents,
There's a level of laxity that's there that, for maybe unrelated reason, I would agree with that. And it's not because it's her, it's just whoever is at the helm, because there's a level of comfort that occurred there for that to happen. If it's a genuine act that just occurred, there's a level of comfort there that doesn't make any sense. But for us, the viewers, if you don't get it now, you will get it in the months to come. These patterns kind of play themselves over. This pattern where this thing happened a month ago, and all of a sudden now, it's mainstream news. We have making the circuit going around, seeing these people and stuff like that, the drawing up, and it's like, if they didn't say nothing about it at all, I wouldn't know nothing about it still now.
Right.
So now you're bringing it up to do what? And then we're planning to say, oh, it's going to be right over here, right over there. So, I mean...
You just defined what's called a distraction.
So this is what's going on.
This is a distraction.
And I want you guys to kind of get that and to see that. And it gets to a certain point, you smell it before it even happens, And
it stinks.
And the next point is...
It totally stinks.
And the next point is to get behind
the fact that...
see,
it totally stinks. Just the fact that you got an officer so out of control, willing to soccer kick somebody in the face and haymaker, wheel punch them. And this is the thing that I was thinking about earlier. The camera that's watching them. There's someone controlling the camera because it's going back and forth. And then it stops and then it zooms right in on them. So there's someone there communicating to some degree. So these officers know where all the cameras in this town is. Why would you be in
Do
such
that.
a perfect little place?
Situation.
And the cameras, I mean, dude, we're talking about
Couldn't be any
the
better.
camera's only 20, 30 feet away. It's the camera, and it's on a pole, and you can see it on one of the body cameras of the police officer. You can actually see the camera of the police camera that is videoing them. So
So you feel it's contrived? You feel like it's fake to a certain extent?
I don't say it's
Just see
fake.
those type of words,
I
but
don't want to say it's fake. I don't want to say it's
Those are strong words for
fake.
these streets.
it's,
I don't want to say it's fake. But what I want to say
I'm not
is,
sure if I know all the
here's the
things I need to
thing.
know.
You know this. You know how you saw me get a
Oh,
little
yes.
emotional earlier when the guy yelled out "Mama," and I think about that. And the first time I ever saw that situation was in The Sopranos The Sopranos, and in the Soprano TV series, they kill one of the guys.
Yo, I watched that shit this weekend. Literally. From a Bronx Tale, that kid from the Bronx Tale.
The kid from the Bronx Tale. And Tony Soprano standing in front of him and reaches his arm out with the weapon in his hand to take this, to delete this kid. He yells out, "Mama!"
Yo, it was an intense scene. It's
It's an intense scene.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
got that same emotion watching that guy scream out "Mama." Is this reality in the algorithm creating the narrative that jumps off the pages of a Hollywood set when the guy goes, "Mama!"
Wait.
When
Remember
Tony Soprano
Wait,
takes his
there was this movie that you told me about years ago, and it was Elijah Wood and Joaquin Phoenix, and Elijah Wood was about to get
Joaquin Phoenix.
Joaquin Phoenix.
Oh, that scene. You remember that scene?
Yeah, and I remember you were speaking, the way he spoke about this scene, the way Elvis is speaking about this scene now, he spoke about this scene before, and there was a guttural yell when this person was condemned to death, and there was a guttural yell and that sad thing, but it invoked some intense emotion in you.
Right. It's
Yeah.
one of those movies that I saw the movie
Wait,
and
tell 'em
broke
the
down
plot, just in
crying.
case somebody knows.
This particular movie he's talking about, I saw this movie and I cried. And then I saw the movie 10 years, 15 years later, and it did nothing for me.
Listen, we need to.
I became in the 15 years numb. But this scene is like he said, there was a scene, the movie basically is the guys in like Thailand or something like that, and Vince Vaughn is the actor, and Joaquin Phoenix is like his friend, and Vince Vaughn threw away something. He threw away like a bicycle because the bike broke, and he just threw it off the thing. And he jumps on the plane, comes back to the U.S. He finds out his boy that he was riding the bike with is in jail for 5 years because they're gonna send him to death for what you did to his thing. But if you come to Thailand, we'll let you. If you come to Thailand, you can do 3 years, and they won't take his life. So something happened that the press got hold of it. So the Thailand government was like, no, he's going to death immediately, and this guy got to do the 5 years or the 3 years or whatever it is. And the guy is fighting, and they're like dragging him to the hang-em section. And he's screaming and he's fighting, and he's like, no, and he's fighting, and he's like, no, and they're like slamming him, and he's like, no, and then Vince Vaughn is screaming through the vent, I'm with you, you're not alone, and he's like screaming, like, you're not alone, you're not gonna die alone, bro, I'm here with you, yo. But what sucked was 15 years later, I didn't have that same emotion that I had when I first saw it. See, we all change, Ulrich. I'm older, you're younger, and when you're younger, you might think like certain things bother you, and then they don't bother you anymore. Like you're not set as the human being that you are. But this movie, let me just say this: this movie resonated this movie, not a movie. Oh shit! You heard what I just said? This movie, this scene with this guy screaming out his mother. Yo, it was so
It
powerful.
was a perfect thing.
It's like this reality got something for everybody.
Well, I gotta tell you this. We understand that a lot of things that we're experiencing now, the average person is numb to them, been conditioned, they have been, what's the word I'm looking for? Desensitized to it,
Right.
you know, and the only way you bring that is to bring some of those emotional elements to still grab somebody's attention and to pull them in emotionally like that. And that's the
When I
reason-
heard him scream "Mama," I was like, "This seems real."
Yeah, and that's the thing. You know, we see something similar.
And,
We have to see.
that wasn't
we have-
that was very clear. Everything else was not as clear as that scene.
We have to
The body
watch
count.
every time. We have to understand the things that are occurring, and the ability to make things seem a certain way are becoming better and better and better. You know, and this idea, these gut-wrenching emotional situations with the reality. You know, we started to see that played out maybe a couple of years ago. Well, not even a couple of years ago, even less time.
With George Floyd, he
With
screamed out "Mama."
With that,
Yeah.
you're talking about the Will Smith thing. It
Will
was
Smith screamed out "Mama."
no, not that he's screaming out "Mama," but his outburst and his expression.
Ooh.
That what catches people's attention. Like,
Keep
oh,
my
that
wife's
was
name out of your yo. It
So
comes
like-
from that same place of
Right.
emotion.
So
Yeah,
you're like,
but his
oh,
dad,
triggering
fresh
emotion.
And then
for his dad.
people-
It's like, you did
But that's
things
what
like
we
that.
are.
No, what I'm saying, that
Yeah.
also.
So
what
I
they-
know he loved
that-
me.
That's
So
what it's like.
he could do it,
You never
basically.
went to a basic with that. To hell
In
with
other
you.
words, he could do it
That
on
was-
cue,
It was
basically.
guttural. Yeah, but that's the point I think he's making. That it's,
yeah. So the thing is, we have these, and we have to kind of like watch that and see that. But the more
Pay
important
attention to the narrative, right?
The more important thing is that these constables, we understand what they're here for. And as the police officers, they're working a job. And if you don't know much about it, they're working for a company that may or may not have anything to do with you. Okay? In the end, you restrain them. We don't get that now because before the constable were concerned about the citizens
Definitely.
because the citizens made sure they kept them in check. If the whole neighborhood, 100, 200 people surrounded them, that shit stops. We have to get to the point of not looking at that and fearing, like, oh, you know, this may happen. And I heard, you know, some clients came in and they talked about how they couldn't watch it because they have a son, you know, or this or that. And it's bringing this air of fear, and that's not what it should be. You know, it should
Yes,
be.
it's a conditional fear that's
Exactly.
being pushed.
So the thing about it is to step out and be there and confront the bad actors that are in those roles and get them out. In Haiti, this couldn't happen. In Haiti, you know, their houses would have been burned down by now.
the cops would have
And all that families, especially if the sentiment is like they did some wrong. You know, if the sentiment is that they did some wrong, they couldn't even be there. They couldn't be there, their families couldn't be there.
Wow.
They'd have to like flee and go somewhere else. You know? And
Interesting.
so the thing about it is that we've created a place where we are sitting on wrongdoings and letting it flourish. We are sitting on wrongdoings everywhere around. We are sitting on wrongdoings amongst each other. We sitting on wrongdoings with the government. We sitting on wrongdoings where everybody is doing wrong. Everybody's just sitting around, just, you know, praying that it won't be them next.
Yes. That's what, and here's the
and-
thing.
And it's a sad place to be. And the thing about it is, hopefully justice will be brought in this situation, or justice in the broadest sense, that the light that really needs to come on this situation will be shined for what the situation really is,
Right.
whatever that may be. I'll just say to you right now, I don't know what it is. And so with that,
Are we thankful for technology?
No.
No,
It's useless.
I think we get a false sense of security with it that allows us to be further
And
misled.
this Orwellian reality that we're in, is this another? Here's my question. Here's another question. Why would see? There's a whole bunch of things that bother me with this. Why would you not give the police due process when all results have shown us that if you don't give the police due process, even while in prison for a crime, they can get back pay and all kind of stuff because you didn't do it properly? Why wouldn't they first? It's like you get without pay. So you get put on, you get leave without pay, with pay, and then once the grand jury comes in and you get filled with charges, then there's just these little tiny steps. It's like they just want to make everybody feel better. Like Crump was talking about that today. 20 days and those cops were fired. That's going to be the new timeline for the cops. 20 days, they set the bar. We want 20 days, whenever a cop does this and a cop does that and a cop does this. All to black people. Only black people Trump cares about. And they just they just shot this white man. He was coming out of his trailer. The cops got a call that this guy had a hostage. They knocked on his door. He didn't answer his door. He was asleep. And in the bed with his wife. So they break one of the back windows and slip in a little drone, and the drone is riding around in the house, taking pictures and all that. And then they finally come back 2-3 hours later with the SWAT team, get a warrant, and they banging on the door. And he finally turns on the lights and he sees a drone. He picks up the drone and he's like, "What the hell?" And he opens up his door. "What's going on?" And they're like, "Drop that from your head." And they light his ass up. Bow, bow, bow. Here's the thing though, there was like 20 shots fired. He only got hit a few times. So what's really going on? You cops don't know how to shoot straight? Like, what the hell? It's a guy in a trailer doorway with illuminated with light behind him, and he only shot him 3 times.
Why is the citizens are allowing this type of shit to happen?
That's crazy. And they lied they lied on the police report. The police report said that he became confrontational and was aggressive at them. You know,
They always got to come up with some bullshit
this
like
is
that.
real-
They don't kill this guy.
if this is real, the cops beating this guy's ass, if this is real, it's a great thing if the people say enough is enough. I'm not paying taxes. They forcing us to pay taxes. Or they forcing our taxes to go to law enforcement. Okay? And I think it's a good thing to some degree. But let me tell you this. You look at all the auditing that's going on, the people that take video of the cops, all the auditing that's going on, if you try to walk into a precinct right now, you're going to jail. Because they don't want you to see that most of these cops are on their phones all day long. They're sitting down on their phones the whole day long.
You're going to jail for what?
No, they're going to jail because there's a piece of paper now in front of the precinct saying no cameras allowed. But the federal government says you're allowed to video within any foyer entranceways, anything before the checkpoint. So wherever there's a checkpoint, beyond that checkpoint, you have restrictions of where you can film. But anything before that, so when you enter into a precinct and you talk to someone there, you could be able to record, but not anymore. Because all these, so many cops, and they all on their phone, they all howling at the other cops. It's like, it's like a whole world of debauchery going on. But let me just say this is a good thing, because if people fight hard enough, we can get rid of this qualified immunity. Hashtag end qualified immunity. I'm so over it. It's like
qualified immunity really manifests itself in the civil workings, not the criminal trials. There's no qualified immunity for a criminal case. Qualified immunity really exists mostly within the civil situation. So like that means the cops can't get sued.
Yeah, you
off
can't.
The jump.
Yeah,
But
the city, you can't shoot
cops
them
aren't
individually.
Cops aren't immune from that. All right, that's how they trick you. Cops aren't immune from criminal prosecutions.
No, I know, but they do lie, turn off their body cameras.
Yeah, but that's
mute
something
their
that's
body
different. But that's not
cameras.
qualified. Yeah, that's something different.
And
Yeah.
a lot of their qualified immunity stops them from going to jail for it.
No, qualified immunity is dick though.
I know what you're saying. All right. How big I was in Chef Rosenberg? Where you going?
I'm all right. Oh, man.
Again? Somebody's gonna think you're partying. You better account for
Nah,
it.
it's just
You know, I am not doctor surgeon.
All right, wait. Let's see what the people are talking about over here. Forgive me, y'all. All right, Christopher Perkins,
my
Bullseye.
Christopher.
Christopher Perkins, John Solar, Shadow Dweller. Let me see who else is here. Shadow Dweller, thank you for
Can't see shit.
keeping the chat going. We're not gonna really go to the chat, just saying hi to the people that were here. Christopher Perkins again. Shadow Dweller and Christopher Perkins are holding it
Yeah,
down.
what's your
John Solar. It's me telling the story. You know, we've been here so long, it's gonna be hard. LA and New York started the first overtime, 116 to 116. I don't know what that means.
Is it a
Okay.
basketball reference?
Well, thank you to everybody in the chat.
Yeah, his
Christopher
chat is heavy,
Perkins,
man.
Mr. Mind Dover Matter. Mind over matter.
Oh, who
Yeah,
said
yeah, yeah.
institutionalized victimization? I like that. I like Mr. Mind over matter. I mess with you, whoever this new person is.
All right.
All right, Christopher Perkins, you win. You first. You got it. You the man.
We love you. We appreciate you.
Peace.